Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I'm Jen Welte. I'm with First Integrity Title, and this is Jacalyn Forleo. Jacalyn, why don't you say a little bit about yourself?
I'm Jacalyn Forleo. I'm with Zenith Home Loans, and I help people buy houses. It's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, and refinance out of crazy debt.
Yep. We want to build generational wealth and start with education and go from there.
Fantastic. So, Jacalyn, what is going on with the rates these days?
Such a good question. So they've stayed, I mean, the month of January was pretty interesting as far as just fluctuation. We saw a little bit of an improvement early on in the month just based on some comments from the administration. But that has since leveled itself back out. So I'd say right now the month of January stayed pretty stable. We're seeing rates in like the mid to low sixes, high fives, depending on like discount points, loan program, and things like that. So we're starting to see refinances become a bigger topic of conversation for a variety of reasons, lowering that payment or doing some debt consolidation. And purchases picked up quite a bit. I've seen a couple posts from some of my realtor partners that are like spring markets here. And I'd say on some houses it is, but I'd say on the majority of properties we're still seeing some slower movement. I've actually started to see a lot of short sales. All of
Yeah,
a
we
sudden in
have
the last
two.
like 30 days, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And a lot of agents aren't familiar with like what that process looks like. So we're getting lots of questions about that. But I'd say if it's the right time for you to start a conversation, whether it's buying or refinancing, the best thing you can do is just start the conversation and then we figure out how do we get you where you want to be.
I will second the short sale. I probably had two or three short sales come across my desk last week.
Hmm.
So I work with the short sale queen. So she is a closer here at First Integrity Title, and she just burns through those. So she's amazing. So if you have a short sale and you don't know what to do, call me and we'll figure that out. But yeah, I would agree. A lot of short sales. Some people saying that their listings are going super fast, and then some just saying they're just sitting there still. So kind of all over the board still.
Yeah. Are you guys seeing a lot of seller concessions still for your buyers?
Not nearly as many as we were seeing a couple months ago,
Hmm.
but it's still seeing some. It's still, I feel like it's still a really good market for buyers. And what I would say, and I'm sure you would echo, is like today's the day, not 4 months, 5 months down the road when everybody is out shopping for a house and
Hmm.
multiple offers and driving prices up. So we've been saying that for years, though.
Yeah. It's like we're trying to tell you guys. None of it wants to listen.
Yeah,
I'd say
yeah,
it's the biggest thing I tell clients is like it's because we still have the conversations like, oh, we're gonna wait until rates improve a little bit more or something like that. And my favorite statistic on the planet is that for every 1% reduction in rate, 5 million buyers enter the market. And
yeah.
so if you're waiting for that lower rate, there's a whole bunch of people that are also waiting for it. And so now you've competition has heated up and that means that prices are going to go up. So
Right.
um you can change your rate, you can change your payment on your house, but you can't change how much you paid for it. So if it's a right time for
Yep.
you, then you should have the conversation now. I would say from on my side, I'd say almost every single one of my buyers has a concession of at least $3,000. I've got one client that's got a $36,000 concession, and I have another client right now that's
Wow.
got a $15,000 concession. And there's a
Okay.
lot of damage you can do to your interest rate with that kind of cash. So
Right.
the deals are out there. You just have to know how to get to them.
Absolutely. Great advice. Anything that you see on the horizon that you want to let either homeowners or agents know about?
For agents, I would say just now that we're starting to see purchases pick back up, to not forget about the new guideline that came into play from VA last summer regarding pest inspections. So those are required in certain counties, but why that impacts the Denver metro area is because Douglas County and Arapahoe County are both affected. So just make sure it doesn't make the loan any less safe by any means. That rule is really in place to protect the buyer. And so it's just if you've got a property that like clearly looks like there's been some kind of an infestation, which in those counties, honestly, it's pretty rare. It's usually in my more mountainy areas and out on the eastern plains, but we are required to get one. They're pretty quick. We can turn it around usually within a day or two. You can order it as a part of your home inspection, but just know VA loans, you are going to need a pest termite inspection, so just don't forget about that. It shouldn't delay anything. If
Right.
you've got a lender who says it's delaying something, you have the wrong lender. So just make sure that you're having an upfront conversation. So it's again, it's one of those things where as long as you're proactive, everything else is good because those VA loans are excellent products for our vets, and we should absolutely be
Yeah.
honoring those offers.
I agree. I know at one point in time, I would talk to some agents and they're like, we really try to avoid it. And I'm like, why? This is like one, it's a veteran, which is a protected class. So you should probably not say that you're trying to avoid it. But two, it's a great product. And if you work with a great lender like yourself, you know what you can do and what you can
Mhm.
get done. And like you said, it just adds one extra little test.
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, honestly, the pieces in there for that make the loan quote unquote more complicated really fall on the burden of the client, or excuse me, of the
Right.
lender. Really should not impact you as a realtor other than having the information and the knowledge.
Right.
So the lender knows if the lender's pre-approving somebody at that loan program, be it VA or FHA, USDA, any of those more unique loan programs, more or off the beaten path, I guess. As long as they know how to do it, you really should not experience any kind of issues. So,
All right. Looking forward to spring. Anything else that we need to kind of be prepared for? What do you think? I know you don't have a crystal ball and know what rates are going to do, but as long as they stay stable, do you think it's a great time to continue to shop and look for a home?
yes, absolutely. I think the time, because again, I think there's still, I don't think rates are going to drop enough to drive prices up substantially. So I think if it feels like a good time for you to make a move, you should absolutely make a move. I think there's some really great equity opportunities in the market right now that you can kind of get your foot in the door and start to build that generational wealth or start to build your real estate portfolio or just stop paying your landlord's mortgage. So I think again, it comes down to if it's the right time for you, have a conversation and see what you can do. Based on everything that we're seeing, I'd anticipate that rates stay pretty steady. They might come down a little bit more, but there's a lot of factors that are pretty volatile that we just don't have any control over. So, but I would say focus less on things that the administration says and focus more on labor and inflation because those are really the driving factors that are going to keep the market where we need it to be. The little improvement that we saw earlier in January, that was based on commentary from the administration, and it had completely reversed course within like 3 days. So
Right.
if there's not the data to support the move, it's not going to last for very long. So
Yeah.
if you wait
And
for
take
something like
advantage.
that, yeah,
Take
absolutely. If
advantage
you
of
can
it when
take
it
advantage
hits,
of it when it
though.
hits, do it, and you need
Right.
to move fast because
Right.
that one was 2 days. There was another one about 6 months ago, and it was 4 hours. So like these really positive movements that are
Right.
substantial, they're very short. So you got to move
Right.
quick.
Well, we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to just end on a title tip. One of the things that we see the most in title is not knowing if you're joint tenants or tenants in common, or even knowing the difference of. If you're an agent, it's really important to note that if it is silent on the deed, it defaults to tenants in common, which can cause a lot of issues for your buyers and your clients down the road. Essentially, if one of the people pass away, then you're going to have to go through probate for their portion of that home. So if you have any questions about how your home is vested, if you're a consumer or somebody who's bought recently, if you're wondering how it's vested, give me a call. If you're an agent and you just want a vesting chart to go over that with your clients, I'd be happy to provide that as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the chat
All
today,
right.
ma'am.
Well, have a great day.
Thanks. You too. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.